Hello and welcome to all my fellow War of the Visions PvP fanatics. JB79 here, and today I'm going to be dusting off my crystal ball. I'm going to be taking a look into the future with the latest round of JP updates in the past week. And in my last video, we looked at Raldor. Today I want to take a look at Sakura, who was the other unit, and the final, these were the final two units actually, non-limited units to get their EX upgrades. So let's take a look at what Sakura got. Now, anybody who can sort of remember back to the time sort of leading up to our first anniversary, maybe just about a year ago or so, a little over a year. We had a lot of dark units sort of going around. We had Dwayne, who we just got last Christmas. We had obviously Stern. We had Kane, and Sakura came along and sort of ushered in or began what was our first sort of light meta, at least in the auto scene. On the manual side, though, we were dealing with Kane and Dwayne and Stern for a while as well. So, Sakura was a unit that was definitely, seen around, in terms of trying to deal with those units, particularly Kane. Of course, Sakura was known for, her ability, which could dispel a mortal spirit. That was sort of one of the hallmarks of her kit, and a very unique ability that she had. And even today, that's still a very unique ability, and it seems to get more relevant, as we see more and more units getting access to immortal spirits. So it would be nice, when we do finally get around to getting Sakura, maybe in a few months, to have another option to deal with that. So let's take a look and see what Gumi's done to upgrade Sakura and sort of bring her back into to relevance. Now, of course, Sakura is a light unit. There's a lot of great light units to choose from. Seems like a never-ending supply, But Sakura was always one of the better ones. First thing to note, in terms of like cost limited stuff like class match or limited guild war, she's a 70 cost unit. That's similar to like a Halloween Leela, Engelbert and Victora, to name a few. Very few units, are retaining that 70 cost. And of the units that are 70 cost, not all of them are, hugely powerful. If you think about a unit like maybe Mashery, for example, it's another light unit that's 70 cost. At least right now, I mean, she's usable for sure, and she has a couple of unique things that she brings, but I wouldn't think that anybody ever says that she's powerful or maybe even potentially overpowered for her cost. Sakura early on, for a 70 cost, very, very powerful unit, very strong damage. And at least at the time of her release, she was on the tankier side, for when comparing to other mages. Her HP pool, on her release was, it's in the middle tier to the, approaching the higher tier for what mages could get. And her mastery ability gave her 10 base defense, which at least at that point in the game was powerful. You can think about maybe adding on like a plat robe, which players often did, and bringing her up close to that 30 defense area. So of course now in today's game, all the physical damage dealers are generally having very high defense penetration, generally 40% or even up to like 80% in some cases if you're adding in like a spine blade or something of that nature. So defense definitely not what it used to be. And when you look at what she got for an HP upgrade, so today on global she's like in the 2200 HP area, so she got about 800 in HP. Not a great HP upgrade, right? especially when comparing to, today's, magic damage dealers. I'd say middle of the road for mages is like in the 32 to 3300 range, and then tankier mages are often in that 35 to 3600 range. And of course, that second anniversary, we also have Terra coming, who is well over 4,000. After all things considered. So definitely, with defense not being quite as powerful as it used to be, with a lower end HP upgrade, it kind of removes that option that we used to have in some cases of her being sort of a little bit of a tankier mage. She's more, I'd say, more of like a glass cannon type profile at this point. So that's kind of a bummer. She's going to be in one-shot territory, especially for slash damage, for missile damage, potentially. Her magic value is pretty solid, especially when you consider she has multiple magic up passives that she could potentially use. She's not like in the top 10 of the game, but she's sort of approaching that area, so solid magic. Her agility, she was, starting at 59, in today's, global version. She will be getting +3 agility, which is was certainly welcome. Anytime that you're sub 60, I think you're in a pretty rough spot. So 62 is decent enough, especially when she has as well an agility passive that she has access to sort of build upon that and get it even higher. So she can be a pretty fast unit, all things considered. Now, in terms of her dex and luck, obviously these are very important for her accuracy and as well as her crit potential. In terms of crit, this is not going to be a unit that's critting a lot. You can see the dex value here is pretty modest. I'd say it's middle to lower tier in terms of dex. Luck is definitely an asset for her, though. She has 252 base luck, and if you think about some of the vision cards that you may use in a light magic party, you think about a card like Fighting the Darkness, Elena's VC. That's going to bring her luck up to a very, very respectable total, and something that's certainly going to help her in terms of her accuracy, which we'll talk about as we get into her kit. So, overall sort of a mixed bag here in terms of her stat upgrades. I like the magic, I like the agility. But the tankiness stats definitely are taking a step back, and maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they didn't want her to be have that option of being tanky anymore. So let's take a look at the skills here. So first thing is she does get a passive skill that gets upgraded. And which one is this today? Her Thunder Blossom skill, right? So this is the skill that upgrades her Rebel Intention ability, and that's the ability that removes Immortal Spirit. And what this one does is it gives her 12% agility, right, on top of the skill upgrade. And then with the EX version, it's going to give her 40% magic res penetration. Very, very powerful here. Magic res penetration is something that we've seen somewhat rarely in the game, overall. They haven't been as quick to give that out as they have things like slash res penetration. So getting 40 on a passive support ability is a huge bump. You think about, like a Garvel TMR or a Cypress Rod that you could have in addition to this, and she can get to that sort of true magic res penetration state where, she's at 100%. So pretty cool. And this, often this is a passive that you were equipping anyway, just for that 12% agility, and then the upgrade to one of her best skills in Rebel Intention. So pretty nice EX upgrade here to start. So what else does she get? Her first skill upgrade is on a pretty unique ability, even when you consider today's game. And this was an ability that sort of leaned into like a dual element nature for Sakura, and that she has some skills, which you can see here, that are lightning based and some that are light based. And this was a skill that actually provided an imperil of 30% for both elements. Now, in the pre-EX version, it did that after the damage, right? It's a very nice AoE, but we've seen sort of the damage potential of other mages, starting off back in the day with like Mediana. We've seen it with Black Rose Helena. Um, when you're applying that imperil before the damage, it really takes it up and amps it up to a new level. So Sakura gets that in the EX. And the cool thing about this skill is that, it provides nice synergy, obviously, for a light team. Getting a huge AoE for Imperil is awesome. You can imagine hitting multiple units with this very easily. But it also provides great synergy for a lightning team. Obviously, we have Ibarra now, but who provides sort of a similar skill, but at a lower mod, outside of her limit break. But pretty cool skill. It retains that 185 mod, so for a large AoE, on a non-limit break, that's still a very nice modifier for an attack. And her magic value can definitely get up there in the 14 to 1500 range. So if you stack that with the Imperil, this will be doing very nice damage. But it does get another upgrade as well, is that this also increases her agility by 20%. So that's a very solid solid upgrade there. The next thing that she gets is her job 25, which is a magic barrier break. Nice modifier here again, 220%. This one is only single target. It does have, a decent 4 range on it, and importantly, it has 2 range height. And the range height is something that's often overlooked by some players. But that having access to a range height of 2 or better is always handy, very nice to have, especially when you're considering some of the height differentials that we have on some of the maps. So overall, when you package these together, it's going to be very hard to mitigate Sakura's damage. Right? She has access to that magic res penetration that we talked about now in her passive. She has access to very nice spirit penetration with her rebel intention. That can get 50% on that particular skill. So that's very nice. And then she has access to the Imperil as well, and the barrier break. So really, there's no way to completely sort of nullify or mitigate her damage. She's going to be a huge threat, assuming that she can hit you. And that's sort of the key point with her. As you can see here in her main kit, she does not have access to any sort of accuracy sort of skill up, or she doesn't have access to 100% hit, more importantly here. She doesn't have any support ability, which gives her any accuracy or luck either. So that's going to be a pain point for her. I mean, obviously she has that the base luck that we talked about, which will certainly contribute and help her out, especially if you have the Fighting in the Darkness card available to you to amp up her luck even further. And I'd say that's almost a must. If you want to be hitting with these hard hitting skills here, you need to consider that evade is huge in the global game today. And if the JP crystal ball is any indication, It's only getting better with units incoming like Locke and Violet. So accuracy and 100% hits are very, very important. As a side note, I mean, she does have access to Kodadama for unavailable pain. You know, this skill is, you know, it's okay. It just has a very low modifier and it's very limited in its range. And yeah, I mean, I'd much prefer to be able to hit with the 220, 265 modifiers that she has access to, you know, if I can build up her accuracy. But, you know, this is an option, you know, maybe if you're hitting a very, very, very evasive unit. And it should do okay damage, you know, with the magic totals that she can get up to. So, but yeah, so that's Sakura. You know, obviously, you know, as well, she has this amazing, you know, limit break that she was known for, you know, on her initial release. The great thing about that limit break again is the 6 range that it has access to, and especially against dark units, you know, this is very, very potent. So all in all, you know, Sakura at the end of the day, with the EX upgrades, it's looking like she is, you know, kind of in that glass cannon sort of tank buster sort of, you know, role. And I think that she'll certainly excel in that role. Will she dent the meta in terms of being picked in like class match and you know, in other areas of the game? I think that she has the potential. And the reason I say that is that, you know, the kid is very nice, does a lot of damage, has chaining potential, you know, has the imperils, and you know, she has, you know, some decent support as well, like with her elemental buff. But the main thing is that 70 cost, right? So anytime that you have a unit that's 70 cost, that's a huge sort of boon for class match and limited content. And when she has the kind of kit that she does and the damage potential, you can imagine her being used with quickeners like a Phoebe, and you know, maybe in like a double quicken setup. She has the very long range on that limit break. You know, I can see scenarios where she's, you know, very, very powerful and you know, potentially you know, used quite often. So I'd say, you know, this is a solid upgrade. You know, I do wish that they had sort of built upon some of the original ideas of, like, you know, her defensive mastery and but you know, you can't have everything. You know, she's obviously going to be up there, you know, in the damage category, but she'll be in danger of, you know, sort of getting one shot herself. So I guess that's how they're choosing to balance her out. But looking forward to this unit. You know, we should be seeing her in a few months, and yeah, we'll see what comes to fruition then. But so that's about all that we have for today. If you enjoyed this content, then, you know, please like and subscribe to the channel. Look out for my next videos. This is something that I like to do in terms of looking ahead into what's coming in from the JP side and what we can look forward to. That's kind of what excites me. So I think this is going to be something that I look to do, you know, maybe on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So you know, if you have anything that you think I missed in terms of, you know, things that she's getting upgraded or you know, potential uses, please comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.